I advised Nnamdi Kanu to join politics. Adeyanju. Human rights activist and social media influencer Adeyanju says he advised the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, to leverage on his popularity by taking an active part in politics. The Kogi-born activist, in a post on his Facebook page on Sunday, said he gave the advice to Kanu after his release from prison a few years ago. Platinum posts or reports that Kanu, who is at present detained at the DSS, Department of State Services, facility in Abuja following alleged treasonable charges, was earlier released from prison in 2017 after meeting his bail conditions. Adeyanju, who has declared political war on radical supporters of Peter Obi 2023 presidential ambitions, said he told Kanu that joining politics would be a great step towards achieving Biafra Republic. He said, after Nnamdi Kanu was released from prison, I was the first person to secretly and openly advise him. Well, sort of contradictory. Well, he secretly and openly advised Nnamdi Kanu to become interested in politics and ensure he installs all the 5 governors of the Southeast, as that would be the first major step of actualizing Biafra. They insulted me, saying that I was an enemy paid by the government to destabilize Biafra. Today, IPOP folks that we all know on social media are suddenly interested in elections. They never listened and hate criticism of any kind. What do you mean? They're still citizens of the country. What? He's acting like as if he's given such an advice and, it was such profound words. And so as a result, IPOP members should not be involved in the politics of the nation that they're trying to leave. Does that even make sense? Yeah, that's a bit... I don't know why he feels that he advised Nnamdi Kanu. And to be honest, why this news has falsities, personally, for me, the way I see it is, if you actually listen to what Nnamdi Kanu says about the government, I think he'd rather move to a new country than join these set of politicians that he speaks that he's so critical about. I mean, the way he speaks of them, I think the last thing he'd rather do is to be classed with the politicians he speaks of to be their colleagues, to be his colleagues. The Nnamdi Kanu that speaks, the Nnamdi Kanu that is vocal, and the Nnamdi Kanu that is, determined to achieve Biafra, that is the last thing that would happen. So this advice, him saying that, maybe he said it on social media, well, he said it secretly, and it's open, but fact is, there is no way Nnamdi Kanu would listen to such advice. And not that I'm Nnamdi Kanu expert or I know him anyway, but you just observe what a person stands for and you can just see that there is no way that can happen. Again, anything can change. Again, it's Nigeria, but on first glance, that is just highly unlikely. And secondly, I think the phrasing of how Adeyanju is described as one who has, waged war on all Peter Obi supporters. And to be honest, it's just funny because he has been very vocal, especially with, those that choose to support Peter Obi. And so, him being described, let me actually look for the exact words, but it's not good. And yeah, so the phrase that was used to describe him, it says, Adeyanju, who has declared political war on radical supporters of Peter Obi's presidential ambition. So it's like, okay, fine. This is, how it is described when he's interacting, or his interactions with Peter Obi is described as one who has waged war on them. And so you can obviously picture the passion and of course, on Twitter, if you actually see the engagements, he's been very vocal, and I don't think he's a favorite of Peter Obi supporters as well. But I think he's just been very much vocal, unnecessarily vocal, to be honest. And I don't know why he feels he's in a position to give advice. I mean, maybe he has a personal relationship with Nnamdi Kanu. You never really know. But, it's like the same advice that you're giving to Peter Obi supporters, that, I mean, listen, if you're trying to advise anybody, he's at least, I mean, I think he's going around advising everybody, to be honest. But yeah, I think he's lost relevance with the things that he's said, to be honest. And really, I don't, sometimes the message and the messenger, or the messenger has an effect on what the message is. So listen, even if he says something that would make sense, I think he's single-handedly just ruined his own reputation and just ruined anything that he stands for, because with the way he's been speaking so far, and again with how he interacts and views those supporting Peter Obi, then it doesn't really say anything positive about him as a person, because this will affect how people see you. So, and it's funny because if you look at what he said, he actually said, I advised him to become interested in politics and ensure that he installs all the 5 governors of the Southeast. And this is why you are literally explaining to Nnamdi Kanu why the present government will never even let that happen, because you're literally telling him to manipulate his way into politics, be like the people that Nnamdi Kanu criticizes, and then, as he says, install. This is not even thinking about, he votes or allows people to vote. He's telling him to install. This shows the amount of power that you can have in politics, for you to install governors for, again, in this case, an aim which is obviously to achieve Biafra. And so the fact that you're saying, take over the Southeast and have all these governors be in line with your ambition. And I guess maybe that's why even those that are governors in the Southeast, they do their best. I mean, they do their best to really detach from IPOB or anything that has to do with it, I guess, to show that they're not trying to overtake the country. But again, that is a fear that I guess those in power do have, to think that, Igbo presidency, or even if Nnamdi Kanu is in politics, he will just, look at how they've made, look at how problematic the Nigerian government has been, in the times it has interacted with IPOB, and to even think that sometimes it's like as if the government is looking for trouble, because random things that don't even concern IPOB, they will just mention IPOB, Biafra, and Nnamdi Kanu. So really, that's not really the best advice that you've given there. And even with that, the advice and the approach that they have, they still go through the worst of the worst with the Nigerian government. And yet, we can see he is still detained in the DSS facility up till now. So yeah, put what you think about this in the comment section below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.